There's a guy named Ellis, 31 years old, good job, no catastrophic debt, financially aware enough to know he should be investing, has been meaning to start for 3 years. He has good reasons. He wants to pay off his car first. He wants to build a bigger emergency fund. He wants to wait until after the wedding. He wants to see what the market does. Each reason is individually defensible. Each reason costs him approximately $40,000 per year of delay in future retirement wealth. Ellis is not being irresponsible. He is not spending recklessly. He is doing something quieter and more expensive than either of those things. He is waiting. And waiting, in compound interest math, is not neutral. Waiting is the most costly financial decision most people make because it carries no visible price tag in the present and an enormous one in the future. Nobody sends Ellis a bill for the year he delayed. The cost just stops existing, silently, in a future account that was never opened. What I want to show you today is the specific arithmetic of financial delay, not in vague terms, but in exact dollars tied to exact years at exact ages. By the end of this, you will understand why two people with identical incomes, identical savings rates, and identical investment returns can retire with a $500,000 gap between them based entirely on when they started. You will understand the one compounding window that cannot be recovered once it closes, and you will have the 3-decision framework that the people who actually close that window use, not because they had more money, but because someone showed them the math before it was too late to act on it. Start with the rule that makes all of this concrete, the rule of 72. Divide 72 by your expected annual return, and you get the number of years it takes your money to double. At 7% returns, conservative, inflation-adjusted, historically grounded, money doubles every 10.3 years. At 8%, every 9 years. This rule is simple enough to calculate in your head, and most people have heard of it. What most people have not done is apply it to the specific years they have remaining before retirement and count the doublings they are buying or forfeiting with each year of action or delay.
Ellis is 31. He retires at 65. That is 34 years. At 7% returns, a dollar invested today doubles approximately 3.3 times before he retires. $1 becomes $8. Every $10,000 he invests at 31 becomes roughly $80,000 at 65. Now, Ellis waits 5 years. He starts at 36 instead. That same dollar now has 29 years to compound. It doubles approximately 2.8 times. $1 becomes about $6. Every $10,000 invested at 36 becomes approximately $60,000. The 5-year delay cost Ellis $20,000 per $10,000 invested, a 25% permanent reduction in the outcome of every dollar he eventually puts in. He did not lose that money to fees, bad decisions, or market crashes. He lost it to arithmetic, to the simple mechanical fact that earlier doublings produce more subsequent doublings, and you cannot go back and buy the ones you skipped. Here's the comparison that makes this visceral. Two people, Ellis and his cousin Mark, both earn the same income, both invest $500 a month, both earn 7% annual returns. Mark starts at 25, Ellis starts at 35. At 65, Mark has approximately $1.37 million. Ellis has approximately $567,000. The gap is $803,000. Mark did not work harder. He did not earn more. He did not take more risk. He started 10 years earlier and never stopped. Those 10 years, the years Ellis spent meaning to get around to it, compounded into an $803,000 difference in outcome. And here's the part that makes the math genuinely uncomfortable. Mark contributed $60,000 in those first 10 years that Ellis never contributed, but the gap is $803,000. The extra $60,000 in contributions became $803,000 in outcome because of when those contributions happened in the compounding sequence. Early dollars are not equal to late dollars. Early dollars have more doublings ahead of them. They are the most valuable dollars Ellis will ever have access to, and they expire. Every year Ellis waits, the most powerful compounding window of his life closes slightly further. This is what the financial industry consistently fails to communicate. Because the financial industry primarily profits when you have a large account balance to manage. An industry built around accumulation has limited structural incentive to tell you that the years before you have anything to manage are the years that matter most. The fee on a $20,000 account is not interesting. The fee on the $800,000 that $20,000 would have become is very interesting. But by the time that account exists, the window is already closed. The urgency belongs at the beginning, when the balances are small and the industry's attention is elsewhere. Let's look at the psychological architecture of delay. Because Ellis's reasons are not random, they follow a documented pattern in behavioral economics called present bias, the systematic tendency to overweight costs and benefits in the present relative to the future. Paying off the car feels productive because the car payment is visible, monthly, and emotionally present. The $40,000 per year of compounding that evaporates during delay is invisible, future, and emotionally absent. Ellis's brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what human brains evolved to do: prioritize the immediate and concrete over the distant and abstract. The problem is that compound interest is the one financial force where the distant and abstract ultimately dwarfs the immediate and concrete by a factor of 10. And present bias is specifically calibrated to make you underestimate that factor every single time. The other mechanism keeping Ellis waiting is what psychologists call the perfect conditions fallacy, the belief that starting requires a set of circumstances that do not yet exist. Debt paid off, emergency fund complete, market timing right, income higher. These preconditions feel rational. They are not. They are the financial equivalent of waiting for perfect weather to plant crops. The farmer who waits for a perfect forecast never plants. The harvest does not care about your reasons. It only counts the seasons you used. So what does Ellis actually do? 3 decisions. Decision 1. Start with whatever number is real today, not the number you plan to start with eventually. The behavioral research on habit formation is unambiguous. The size of the initial action matters far less than the fact of it. Ellis has $200 a month of genuine margin right now. Not $500, not $1,000, $200. He opens a Roth IRA tonight, sets up a $200 automatic monthly transfer timed to the day after his paycheck hits, and invests it in a single total market index fund. This takes approximately 22 minutes. The compounding on $200 a month started at 31 versus started at 36 is approximately $55,000 by retirement. The 22 minutes are worth $55,000. No other use of those 22 minutes, not overtime, not side income research, not budgeting spreadsheets, generates that return. The action itself, taken tonight rather than eventually, is the entire value. Ellis does not need a perfect plan. He needs a started plan. A started imperfect plan beats an unstarted perfect plan by $803,000 over a working life. Decision 2. Automate an escalation trigger. The reason most people start small and stay small is that the initial contribution amount calcifies. It was set once, it auto-transfers, and it never gets revisited. Ellis sets $200 a month today, gets a raise in 2 years, and the $200 feels even more modest relative to income, which makes it even easier to leave unchanged. The escalation trigger removes willpower from the equation. Every January 1st, contribution increases by $50 automatically. Or every time income increases, 50% of the after-tax raise amount routes directly to the investment account. No decision required in the moment, no negotiation with present bias. The escalation was decided once, in advance, by a version of Ellis who understood the math. That version of Ellis is protecting future Ellis from the present bias future Ellis will absolutely feel when the raise arrives and the lifestyle upgrade is visible and the retirement account is not. Decision 3. Close the debt-first argument with actual math before it closes the investing window. This is the specific reasoning that delays more investors than any other single factor. Pay off the debt first, then invest. It feels conservative and sequential and responsible. Here is when it is correct and when it is catastrophically wrong. If your debt carries an interest rate above 8%, paying it off first is mathematically defensible. You are getting a guaranteed return equal to the interest rate by eliminating it, which may exceed its expected market returns.
If your debt carries an interest rate below 7%, the expected market return likely exceeds the guaranteed debt payoff return, and the time cost of sequencing, waiting years to invest while paying down debt, is almost certainly negative. At current federal student loan rates, most auto loan rates for good credit, and certainly at 0% promotional debt, the math favors investing in parallel, not sequencing. The person who delays 5 years of investing to eliminate a 4.5% car loan is trading $40,000 per year of compounding to save 4.5% on a declining balance. That trade is not conservative, it is expensive. Ellis needs to run the math on his specific debt rate against his expected investment return before accepting the cultural consensus that debt payoff always precedes investing. Sometimes that consensus is right. Often it is the framing that serves the bank, which collects interest either way, more than the borrower, who only gets to use the compounding window once. Here is the number that ties all of this together. If Ellis starts at 31 with $200 a month, escalates by $50 annually, and hits his full contribution capacity by his mid-30s, his projected retirement balance is in the range of $900,000 to $1.1 million, depending on return assumptions. If Ellis waits until 36 to start under identical conditions, the range drops to $600,000 to $750,000. The 5-year delay costs him, conservatively, $300,000. He will work for approximately 40,000 hours over those 5 years. He will produce real economic value. None of those hours will buy back the compounding window that closed while he was waiting for conditions to improve. That is the price of waiting. Not a penalty, not a punishment, just arithmetic running in one direction, indifferent to reasons. Ellis is not unusual. He is the median American between 28 and 34 with access to a retirement account and positive monthly cash flow who is not maximizing it, not because they cannot afford to, but because starting has always felt like something that belongs slightly in the future. The future where the car is paid off, the future where the emergency fund hits the target number, the future where the market looks less uncertain. That future is not coming. There is only the present moment and the compounding clock that has been running since Ellis turned 22, indifferent to everything except whether money is in the account or not. The window is not closed for Ellis. It is closing. There is a material difference between those two things, and that difference is what tonight is for. Subscribe if this made the cost of waiting concrete in a way it has not been before. Drop a comment with your age and the year you actually started investing, not planned to start, actually started. The gap between those two numbers, run through the rule of 72, is the real cost of the wait. Most people have never calculated it. Now you can.